so good. The pre-0 points over elbow on
And it's
Breeze.
something they've brought in since Masters 3.
Yeah. This is a new look.
Yeah, I wonder if this is done specifically to counter that KO. Who knows? But before we jump into game, I need to know the final prediction from you guys. Who are you backing to win this series? Jess has the curse right now, so I'll start with you.
Oh no! And the reason I've gone with this prediction is because I love both. I love both of these teams. I love all the players, but I really think the support staff is behind Ascend right now. All the counter strategies. As an ex-analyst and coach myself, I got to throw my hats to them. So I'm going with Ascend. You guys, let's see if the work has gone through today.
Wow, Riv?
Looking at how far they've come, what they've been able to put together, the strength in this tournament, they may not have played as many rounds as Gambit so far, but I am locking in Ascend for this one.
Ooh.
Rise, Ascend, rise! A little bit more, break through any other ceilings that you
This
hit.
side of the desk?
Let's see what you got.
Yes.
Sean?
Yeah. I hate to do this because I think the game is so 50-50, but Ascend were my dark horse coming into this tournament, and man, have they lived up to my expectations. I'm sticking with Ascend.
Let's go!
I think they're taking this series, but this is the only opponent that will test them, right?
Okay.
Liquid didn't keep the maps close, so Ascend didn't even have the option to choke. Gambit will not have that same thing happen.
Serious firepower.
And Gambit doesn't choke either. God, this was such a difficult decision for me.
Yeah, same.
I mean, looking at the 5 maps, do we feel like this is the first grand final where we're going to actually go to 5 maps?
I think it's so possible. It's very,
Especially
very
with
likely.
what we're seeing here. If both teams come in not with their favorites and they have to push into these 50-50 maps that both teams will have an attack side or a defensive advantage on, you definitely see 5.
Well, the desk are very Ascend heavy here. Turkey are going to love you guys for that. But it's time for us to jump into Breeze with your casters for today. It's Pansy and Hypog.
Okay, we are being presented with such a treat in front of us. Now, I have to put it quite bluntly here. We've seen a great deal of Gambit. They've had to show a good amount of depth throughout this event. Ascend have been toiling away in the shadows. Not many people paying mind to them as they rightly should have been. Where do you stand?
It's really interesting, and again, seeing the journey Ascend about, this is almost kind of the second coming of Ascend, right? We had that almost dip, you could call it, throughout the mid-year, and Gambit obviously rose towards the end of the year here, but in terms of the stylistic kind of matchup here, Ascend have actually fixed some of the issues you'd have with a concern coming into this matchup, particularly against Gambit.
Well, deep breaths, everyone. We are 10 seconds away from starting up here. And again, the art of greatness throughout this entire event, time and time again. And remember, great moments are born from great opportunity that these both now have. Gambit on the attacking side, Ascend on the defending side. And we're right into this.
Oh, yeah, actually, the Trailblazer straight up elbow. If I'm trying to follow it up here. Local just sitting tight in nest right now, but it's a heavy lean towards B's site here on the side of Ascend. Well, actually, they're going to be able to avoid this owl drone here, but I see that's just going to take first contact deals with Defo immediately.
Yeah, a little bit of a return fire from Shados, but it's quick and it's Ascend really sending a stark message to begin with. 2 quick kills and you lose down Defo and Shados. 2 big instigators on this attacking side. So now looking at what's left, Nats, Redgar, Chronicle. A tough predicament to be presented with, and now a last minute Alien. Now the spike is on the way and see Nats slowly closing in towards Gilles. Gilles better be aware that he's not so safe, and you can see that paranoia starting to build.
Nats tagged up a little bit, actually going to get confirmation here, but also going to hear out these steps in spawn. We have to relay that information, so Nats got a lot to deal with here. If they swing together, he's going to get detected here as well.
Yeah, he's going to be noted pretty quickly. Redgar's gone down. Nats is only good for 1. It's on Chronicle now, and a 1v4, and it's gone quickly. Ascend, hey, let's talk about this now. That's 4 standing, that's confidence building. This is a perfect beginning in map 1.
And again, coasting through that, the perfect setup again, anticipating Gambit showing a little presence towards B and actually pistol round in particular, but potentially towards the side of the top, which is always important. Again, on Breeze, you've got to consider that rotation factor, and again, now it's going to give them the opportunity to, I guess on some of these buy rounds, explore mid, maybe get a little bit aggressive, stop Gambit in their tracks, but again, just looking clean. It's almost like they're completely anticipating that hit, and they were set up perfectly for it.
Now, when you see Breeze, though, and you see Ascend, my mind goes, funny enough, to 100 Thieves. Right? Is it just me?
I'm glad we've got there so early, because that's, again, probably the biggest stumble throughout the year.
It's a quarterfinal, I believe, in Berlin last time around, where everyone's
मैं ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा बे ओहो
Turn the screws on it, Nats.
Noob streamer.
And Nats thing says hello, Starzo. You gonna try and play Viper against me? That's crazy. For now, though, Gambit are doing well. They're keeping the rifles in the right place, and they're not really falling foul to any of these little bits of trickery. Now, yes, maybe CNED with a rifle could find a bit of work here. Spike is down, though.
Let's go.
Ball gets caught. So now CNED left in a bit of a spot of bother.
He's a little tagged up, so he's going to look to do some damage. Shados has got himself tucked all the way into defender's spawn. All three members of Gambit, no danger as of yet. Again, just look at that. It's something that we see Nats become more and more comfortable doing, right? It's the walk up, it's the walk up. Yeah, actually missing on the first Shados, will clean it up. But again, Nats is, again, it's so brazen, right? It's almost like that pressure comes through on Halls. It's noted by Bonecod. I'm pretty sure he's comfortable in calling two out there with the Trailblazer as well. And Nats just walks up, literally walks up. And Green Stars are on default. There's not really an awful lot in terms of setup there that Ascend changed other than playing a little deeper, right? They give up sight and potentially, I guess, regress towards double doors, try and retake that space on Halls, but... And here's CNED now on the operator. Early, actually, round 4 here. Revealing area.
Off to a good start, though, for himself, so why not? But let's see what the adjustment, if there is one coming out from Gambit, if they consider this a possibility. But already going to give away somewhat of the game, trying to play it through elbow, and Shados gets a freebie. Bone Cold going to be livid with that. Shados going to try and power forward. Yeah, oh, he almost caught Keyless as well. Finest of margins here, but they actually peel away from this.
Feel a bit of pressure, and actually you can see here Chronicles found some space towards double doors. You're absolutely right, Lauren.
I wonder if audio cues have been heard, maybe even spotting Starzo, maybe not, maybe just the intuition kicking in, but he has to facilitate this somewhat, and timing is on his side. They've just about spotted each other. Utility goes down, I think, towards either site or main, so they're aware the hit's going to be leaning this way. They can leave CNED lingering towards that B site, as now Chronicles starts to build through. Lovely work from him. Good spray, no connect, but it's Redguard to find it. So now the site should at least be available enough, and Chronicle will overextend.
The tricky spot here. Hunter's Fury actually going to get sent through from Redguard. He actually found a tag inside back at Halls. He did. Keyless will fall. Just he can see Ned to try and recover this now.
I don't see Gambit getting overzealous. I don't think they're going to overmove on this. Like, I think they're going to sit real keen, play this smart, and not give away any opportunities. Just a little jump peek, that's enough. Just to reassure. Positioning! What? Zeke! 2 kills out of nowhere, and suddenly this round becomes a little bit more viable, but time is the biggest problem! Oh my word, Zeke! Is this when you're going to step up and deliver? But it's going to be Chronicle! The box with Zeke! The timing! I don't think he's going to have the time, surely! Surely! Oh my god, Zeke has just destroyed them!
That was absolutely insane.
Confidence
Absolutely everything.
Gambit were halfway out the door. Gambit were like, we're fine, we're absolutely fine, and then this happens.
Oh my god. I can't believe, again, like you said, Chronicles, look at this on the X-Ray. Chronicles like, yeah, surely they've not got a way back on site. Zeke actually got off the defuse there before the half. Again, at that point you think, well, yeah, if you don't get the half there, it's done for. What an insane round from Zeke. And again, Sean touched on this. He's looked so comfortable on this KO. There's almost like a late round component for Ascend, which is something previously lacking, right? It was all about that initial aggression for Ascend.
एक round इनके mental पे बहुत भारी पड़ सकता है भाई.
The other players, and Zeke was this hot prospect who got picked up and we were waiting to see if he could activate, find that role, and he's found more than that already.
Ascend full form में वे, full form में. तो बात नहीं, मैं तो अपन nets के लिए देखते हैं बस. बहुत अच्छा बंदा है यार और बहुत मेहनत करी यार इनने बहुत मेहनत करी है सबने मेहनत करी है बट हाँ देख मॉली डाल के डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिया भाई ओ भाई एक नंबर खेल रहा है
Killers does find one, and Defo's none the wiser. He's gone away with murder from this corner. A free little upgrade as well, leaving Nats and Redgar with nothing to do but die, surely. Yeah, Nats is on one side of the map, but look what the spike is.
And unretrievable now. You can see already the body's in place.
बानो क्वालिटी तो ठीक आ रही है ना ज़्यादा दिक्कत तो नहीं आ रही है देखने में
Zeke comes through, throws the fragment in, deals with the lockdown. That protects the Viper's pit set up towards A main, forces Gambit's hand in terms of this rotation.
यार लेकिन बेस्ट ऑफ 5 है ये अगर लंबा चलेगा तो इन तक भी चल सकता है क्योंकि इतनी आसानी से तो नहीं छोड़ेगी गैम्बिट की ऐसे इनने 3-0 हरा दिया एटलीस्ट अपन को आज 4 मैच तो देखने पड़ेंगे
Zeke's shown that there's possibilities, but I think that Nats knows with that Spike's positioning, they're going to swarm that. Unretrievable. And Ascend. 10 seconds left. You couldn't ask for a better start. Let's roll it back, right? Let's talk bigger picture now, because I think Gambit we've looked at considerably, and no matter the scenario, there's always a chance with them, right? They are one of the true tested teams who consistently find that ability to run it back into the game, no matter the scoreline. Ascend, I'm still unsure if they can do that grind back, but do they have to?
The problem being, I think, throughout this year, you've looked at Ascend and thought, yeah, very fast and loose again. How much can they replicate that in terms of, teams that don't match up? And Gambit, I think, is actually one of those examples. You say they play so slow that it could cause a lot of problems for Ascend, right? They burn out very quickly in the early round. But one of the things Ascend have really tightened up is their late round, their audible calling. And again, it comes back to Zeke in terms of this utility cycle. And he's such a huge factor in that regard.
Maybe Zeke and Killers. Over towards the B site. No early note of player, but speaking of them towards the B side, they've got to look towards those double doors. Push out comes in from Ascend, takes a little bit of an early battle, but don't overcommit, fall away.
Bhai Zeke full form mein oh
coming in. It's a bit of a shaky buy. That's the only one really with a rifle, and Killers
smoke mein maar dete hain yaar ye Banu ke smoke mein अपन तो spray करते रह जाते हैं इधर से उधर
dirty little angles. Ult comes in and Killers sends it right back. That's his site, and you are not getting into it. Spike once again down behind enemy lines, over a minute on the board. Where do they find any avenue in here?
Again, that's the Spectre and the rifle removed from Gambit. Spike again on site. The one thing actually Gambit had going for them there is getting onto site, finding that Viper's pit, but Keeler's aggressive.
51,000 watching bitches. 51,000.
Problem, Zeke will find another. Shados the last man standing, Sheriff in hand. Again, at this point, don't even discuss the economy. It's not a massive dent, even if he finds 1 or 2 here.
भाई लेकिन जितने मैप हारते जाएंगे ना उतनी फटती जाएगी हाथ कांपने लग जाएंगे अभी तो एक्सपीरियंस प्लेयर नहीं है दोनों टीम में
when they're set up to greet any team once they hit that site again the way they play crossfires they bait each other into these awkward little angles and it just looks so comfortable for them.
I feel like we saw that in the semi-finals.
ये भी बहुत अच्छा प्लेयर है यार एक बाइंड में बहुत अच्छा खेलता है शेडोस बाइंड में
because Liquid wanted to play so they wanted to play and again every single time Ascend looked dominant in the late round. Shados would actually find 2.
And I do want to remind people, like, let's say you've only just really started paying attention to Valorant and you've seen this rise of Gambit. There was a king before them. There was another team in EMEA that was constantly towards the top that beat Heretics at the start, and it was Ascend. And these guys somewhat fell into the shadows, I'd say, during that quarterfinal loss, couple of underperformances. But now we've seen this rekindling of that fire.
Well, the big thing was, and I think you look at previously, and it was underwhelming. From what we knew regionally of Ascend, and we saw the peaks, right? We saw the ceiling for this team, and translating that is always difficult. Again, experience is something you have to consider. I know in that 100 Thieves matchup, the number of times.
How often can we say it?
Yeah, the number of times we're thinking high pressure scenario, Ascend actually fumbled a massive lead there, and actually getting to match point. I think having 5 opportunities to close that out. And those are the things that do become very concerning now. This time around.
हाँ भाई सीनेट की अभी देखना चालू करेगा तूने ऑफिंग बहुत तगड़ा ऑफर है बेस्ट ऑफर लगता है मेरे को ये
Hey, this is a marathon, this isn't a sprint. It's best of 5 times, so it's a longer series. I don't want to ever just lean away from Gambit. That's stupid.
Well, this is the thing.
But 5 मैप है भानु 5 मैप है कुछ भी हो सकता है वो लेकिन एसेंट के बहुत अच्छे चांस लग रहे हैं भाई इनने बहुत गंदा कहा था अभी जो वो हुआ था ना मास्टर्स टाइम हुआ था वो जो मास्टर्स हुआ था लास्ट मास्टर्स जिसमें गैम्बिट जीती जिसमें असेंडर आया था इनको बहुत बुरा सेमीफाइनल में
That's when the concerns start building, because Gambit, they never give up.
They are relentless.
They come back in with 50 rounds when they're like 7 rounds down, and that's the one that turns an entire map.
Assassin मेरे को लग रहा है 3-0 से clean win ले लेगा.
Leadership, you talk about the coaching element.
बहुत अच्छा खेल रहा है.
Beyond just the players on the screen right now, but 5-1, Ascend are sending a rather poignant statement. Already Seeker's going to come out though, so Gambit are not wasting any time here. A quick mid piece looks like they want to set the tone.
What?
And Cena just doesn't like the song they're singing. Already with the connection towards Shados, it's put it down to Nats, Redgar, and Defo. But look at the space. They've garnered a fair amount here. But already Zeke seems hyper cognizant of it. He's already watching this push through.
And again, Cena's picked up a different angle altogether. Defo's looking to close the distance here. To Cena in particular, but see actually the spike making its way back over.
अगर ये बहुत बुरी तरह से आ रहे हैं ना अगर ये 7-8 राउंड के गैप से आ रहे तो ये इनका मेंटल पूरा डाउन हो जाएगा अबे मैच मैटर नहीं मैप मैटर नहीं करता है माइंड स्टेट मैटर करता है मेंटल क्या स्टेट है
so many like dirty little angles they can find. Nat's actually going to get found with the spike inside. Hauls that one.
Oh no, the opportunity might have just slipped through his fingers. He keeps control of it for now. Defo does well to get away with that. That was actually looking very one-sided, but now down to the 3v2. Redgar and Defo still trying to find that spike and build it back through. They're trying to isolate Starzo, who's on the stairs. That could be a catch-off, and it is. Good pick from Redgar there, but look who's been waiting the entire time. He kept calm under pressure. Bone Cold being ice cold.
बहुत तगड़ा ऑफर है भाई ये किसी भी प्लेयर के साथ सेज के साथ ऑफ करता है बंदा सेज के साथ.
Keep powering forward.
Again, it's almost like it's just coming down to 1 or 2 aim fights here, and yeah, unfortunately can't get the response that would convert into sight control into something like that. Again, we've seen so much variation on this. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Just
must be nice.
Just run that one another 3 times if possible.
He's quite good at this game, isn't he?
Yeah.
And
well, if that's the CNED we get today, again, we come back to concerns, right?
We do.
There's a lot of pressure on a player that's come under a bit of flack, and it's Defo, right? It's the opposite number.
And I will be the first to say Defo on LAN looks completely different to how he does online sometimes. But he does now need to find it against a superstar.
भाई इसने बहुत ज़्यादा वो निकाला CNED ने.
Jet magic coming from him.
Famous game के बाद.
A very patient hold, a very deep hold. Starzo sitting back by Tribox. They've got a very deep post-plant positioning potentially, or maybe with that Hunter's Fury, they feel like they want to lean towards that a little more. But Defo's going exploring, and he finds nothing that he wanted. Starzo still holding a good amount of territory. There's that ult coming in as considered. Doesn't get everything, but Starzo does. Ascend looks so polished. Nats, you've got a 1v5 and a Spectre. How lucky you're feeling.
देख कहाँ देख रहा वो देख CNED को देख.
I don't think you do anything about this one.
Game sense, bitch. Game sense.
Different beast right now. Everything is going their way.
It is. And again, Nats has shown a presence a couple of times, and Hall's there. He's looking to be kind of a late round piece, but setting up, playing distance, it almost looks awkward there. Defo, I think, oversteps the mark slightly, but he's desperate to find that open. He's desperate to try and weaken this hold that Ascend have on A site. Starzo just swings through here.
Kitte crispy shots.
And can we just highlight for a moment? They just made that look easy against Gambit, and no one makes anything look easy.
Quality ठीक है बानू.
Back onto the side there.
And they seem so hyper aware that was the way they wanted to play it. You already had Starzo back at Tribox, sitting super passive, patiently playing off the back of the ult. And we've seen this mid piece before.
यार बेचारे बच्चे भी तो आ रहे हैं मेन करो साथ ही.
Maybe a little bit of a different look, maybe an adjustment from Gambit. Rifles back out, Defo on the op. Money is there.
Trade-off of information here from the Owl drones. Again, going to try and avoid this spam as best he can. Lots being invested to try and clear him out here, actually. He'll be able to slip back through. Spike not committed this time, so expecting Gambit to just solely try and work a pick here. That sort of slow default we've come to expect.
Yeah, that poised nature coming out from Gambit, but does this...
This is where Ascend have got great. They're taking this space now. Again, now the rotation comes through from Chronicle.
Yes.
The alarm bot's removed. The turret's still there. Whether or not it's actually going to spot anything. Just wait and see. It gets dealt with here. So Gambit now
They have to commit, surely.
They have to. They have
Doubling
to.
the 50 on 30 seconds, you can't do anything about it. So now keep your eye towards the likes of Zeke, who sat towards the corner here. Still has flashes. Killers can't watch his cross anymore, so he's a little isolated. But Killers has got a feeling someone's close by. And he's not wrong, and he still gets a surprise on one. Great trade from Defo. Great clear from Defo. How's he found this little bit of momentum?
ये राउंड आ रहा है तो नहीं जीत पाएंगे फिर ये राउंड अगर जीत गए तो जीत जाएंगे
खत्म Yet to go down.
खत्म मैच खत्म ये वाला राउंड तो खत्म मतलब ये वाला मैच तो खत्म
Nats, can you find the final player? Bone Cold's out of there. That's the worst game of hide and seek Nats has ever played.
Again, in a round like that, Gambit have all the indicators of what's going to happen, and when I think actually the turret is dealt with by Defo, he has to deal with that so that the information's not given over, and still, they're too slow to react.
Defo doing this?
Yeah.
Look at this. This shot, the site's yours. You've got to feel that's our first big chance. You know, where's the spike plant from this? How are they still able to deny so much space?
It comes back. Again, Ascend have tightened up loads of these scenarios where in a late round, you know, they just get bombarded, overwhelmed on sites, but being proactive towards cave and towards shop, they're clearing that space.
Sub mind game का खेल है.
Early enough.
Look at the pace change.
Send an extra.
Hold on, they're just going to start hammering the nails into the coffin. Bone Cold with a good start. Nats did at least.
Sub mind game का
It
खेल
was an
है.
effective trade. Bone Cold's not stopping either. He's seen everything now. He's got so much information to play with. He doesn't have to be worried about this. Redgar can't do much about it. He can maybe stay alive a second longer, but then look at Starzo. Again, propping himself up, super close contact on that A-site piece if they fancy it. We're putting a lot of faith right now in Killers, considering that Cena's hit that rotation. On the ladder, Bone Cold, that's 3. Finally handled by Redgar, but a 2v3.
बहुत ज़्यादा चांस बढ़ जाएंगे एसेंड के ये वाला मैच जीतने के बाद.
Swing back up here. Might even...
Oh no!
Oh no! A little bit
He's
of a
had a nightmare.
there.
He's had a nightmare. Look, it's finals, alright? We're all nervous.
बहुत प्रेशर है भानु सोच के देख बहुत प्रेशर है. फर्स्ट टूर्नामेंट सबसे पहले इसका प्रेशर फर्स्ट चैंपियन क्या लाएंगे जो भी जीतेगा और आने वाले 4-5 साल तो ये गेम चलेगा ही सही तो आने वाले 4-5 साल तक फर्स्ट वैलोरेंट चैंपियन कहलाएंगे.
It's kind of ring rosy, right? So you're going to have a really weird position from Starzo, and it looks like they've almost flipped sides. Now the ult comes in, so at least should facilitate the point. Oh, he has no idea. Right underneath him, depth from above. Gonna find Chronicle, deny the lockdown, invest the ult, and now looks towards the final player. Redgar, what do you have for us? You've been impeccable this event, but you've got to find something here.
बाहर निकल गया.
A reason to believe, because at the moment I'm really not on board. Starzo the first to fall, and now the 1v1, it's Killers. He's just the back line to so many of these rounds.
He really is. And again, you talk about the start of the year. Kilo's obviously doing the rounds in terms of agents now coming to his own in this role. And he's bailed to send out so many times in terms of lurking, in terms of being the last alive.
So what do Gambit need to do here? I'm posing you a horrible question, but theorycraft me something, please, because it's 9-1.
Again, at this point, I don't think really Ascend are feeling any pressure. We talk back again to the variation. Some of these setups is drifting one player kind of being the anomaly. Gambit right now, in terms of information gathering, the early round's just not going their way. They're not finding kind of any space to exploit anything that will give them any opportunity to convert towards side control. Gambit playing this, I got to say, a little too passively in terms of the expectations of what Ascend are going to try and achieve.
I'm seeing CNED going walkabouts.
Yeah, early round. Again, they're getting so much info off this, Lauren.
Now there is a bit of a response in that tube pressure that's coming in.
इनके एंगल देख बानू सी की एंगल.
He has the line of sight, and he is just having the run of things here. Bone Cold as well gets a challenge, but gets overwhelmed. Gambit with the 2 players coming through. Zeke with the underhand flash. It's good, but it's not great. Yeah. Gambit finally getting the frags they need. The pace looking much better.
Finally, एक round तो आया.
Starzo. Say just Starzo.
अबे रूट किसी के लिए नहीं कर रहा. इसको देखो या उसको देखो. बट ये है कि ओवरपावर नहीं होना चाहिए की टीम. जो भी टीम हारती है फाइनल में आके वो ओवरपावर होती है तो मजा नहीं आता फिर.
An overpeak. But your first challenge if you went CT would have been Nats. Not an easy target to try and displace. And there's the spike bomb.
Spike planted.
You got a very, very deep setup here as well. Gambit make absolutely sure they drag this one across the line. Stars I can find any damage here. He's considering just saving this out, but again, coming back to that with Chronicle, again, I know talking about comfort picks and whatnot, not feeling comfortable on the sky, but right here you see, drifts into elbow there. They spot the turret, and it's almost like that rotation comes through straight away. You see Zeke and Keyless both making their way back through spawn. They read it perfectly. Gambit are almost kind of giving away exactly what they want to try and achieve in the early round, and send time and time again and just sending one body. Like I said, it's so hard to deal with, especially with these players that are in rotation, are catching a member of Gambit here and there. This,
lovely.
I think, just comes down to a couple of gunfights that Gambit are granted. And almost, you don't want to say that sloppy on the side of Ascend, but if they're not given though, I feel like Ascend still have a good read on exactly where Gambit are positioned.
Let me go again. Cena, the aggression isn't going to be just once, it's going to be followed up on. He's taking space in middle and he's not alone. He's got 2 players behind him, 3 if you want to throw in Zeke to that equation. And look at Gambit, super deep in this approach, taking space towards A, but everyone else holding that mid presence. Nat's going to invest the ult. Now Starzo knows that he's going to be really on a platter here. Tricky for him to survive. Can he do anything with it? The answer, pretty resoundingly, is no. Gambit with a really nice approach. There's the adjustment from Gambit we were waiting for. It took a little time. Cena didn't kill us still here. He just seen everything. He just sent it in. He gets red guard, but Defo deals with Killes. And it's going to be 9-3.
Smokes Banu.
You can see right there there's a plan.
मुंह पे देख के knife नहीं चलता है.
Points on the checklist. It's within the first 15 to 20 seconds.
Smoke में knife मारा उसने.
Don't resort back to that slow default. There's no kind of progressive movement through the map here. And a much better, again, with how that played out, I think that's probably the best possible scenario in terms of the last round of that half. Not look at the scoreline so much, that's probably the best thing for Gambit.
It's given them a window of opportunity, maybe a little bit of rekindling of the faith that every comeback is possible for them, but 9-3 is a pretty stark contrast. Guys on the desk, what are your thoughts on the scoreline so far?
Thank you very much. Guys, imagine coming into the grand finals with this much confidence, Sean. A 9-3 start for Ascend.
Yeah, and the way they did it, they're treating Gambit like TL right now.
They are.
All of these rounds that shouldn't go their way are going their way.
And this is so reminiscent over the split match. You have these rounds where Ascend's winning, and then one quick round goes the other way, and then like, no, we'll take almost the rest. Thank you very much. Everybody's stepping up. Killes for me has just been such a big player from one tournament to the next. I thought he was a weak point for the team, but oh my word. And then you have guys like CNET just tearing the rest of the map apart.
He's hit some good off shots as well. Let us not forget, he's taken some forward aggressive positions that have been able to net him an opening kill. That has opened sights wide open for them, been able to crush some of the strategies of their opponents. Well,
CNET, I thought he was just tearing the rest of the map apart.
He's hit some good off shots as well. He's taken some forward aggressive positions that have been able to net him an opening kill. That, of course, Ascend and then
Surely we have to talk about Zeke a little bit after that clutch.
I mean,
come on,
round
that
4
2-on-4 was insane. 0.22 seconds on the clock, and then the next round he breaks the Killjoy lockdown with his molly. It's like, oh my god!
One round they win, and we're sitting there, Sean and I was like, wait, they have an offer, they must save this. See, boom, 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 and the round's over, and you're like, oh, maybe they don't save.
Yeah,
that's the Ascend pace right now.
I mean, and similarly, a slow start for Gambit. We used to seeing this as well, Jess. They've had a slow start a couple of maps, so not a bit too early to be worried.
Out of any team in the playoffs that could have a slow start, and I wouldn't be too worried about it, is Gambit. I don't fear too much, so I will give them an opportunity, but 9-3, that is a big round diff, so they're going to have to bring it back.
Well, they've come back from worse before. Let's go back into the second half and let's and see what they can do, Pansy and Hypok.
Yeah, the challenge is certainly now with Gambit to try and reinvent a little bit of what they want to bring into this, but it's hard to imagine a world where a couple of these pop-off rounds won't fall in with Ascend, but we wait and see, right? That's the beauty of coming into these games. That scoreline does make me nervous sometimes, right? A 9-3, we've seen it before.
Ascend holding on to a lead on Breeze.
Oh, don't. Why have you done that? Why have you done that? Okay, all right. And how could I highlight
what
Zeke is such a standout to me as of late. And Defo going to be dealt with. Can he be shut down in time? No, he still gets to fall away, but they're going to try and springboard off the back of this. Keep that pace high. Beautiful flash through, completely blind. Still got one on the way down. Defo going to be dragging them down to the grave, and 4 standing for Gambit. This is a shutdown. Ascend came in with a bit of a game plan, but it looks like
9-3 cards, which is थोड़ा close to लाओ यार game, तभी तो मजा आएगा. मतलब 5 से कम लीड होता मजा आएगा. Don't throw. Well played.
Strong start for Gambit.
Again, decisive.
Both sides actually. See straight away Ascend as soon as that barrier drops. Swing through. Now, see. The one thing I'm looking for here, is particularly in these first kind of 2 or 3 rounds from Ascend, it's just the pace, right? In terms of what Gambit showed, again, no real surprises. Lots of those rounds were slow, defaulty, trying to work off information that Ascend just weren't giving to them. Gambit going to have their head on a swivel to deal with Ascend on the attack. So, get curious once again. Keeler's there to greet him. He's actually walking out here. Yeah, we'll actually find Bone Cold.
This is nice from Gambit. A quick reply is what they need. Get themselves back on track to what they believe the scoreline should be, and this is the perfect way to do it.
Things can change. Things can still change.
Himself tucked in the corner now. Killers isn't considering it yet, but
कर तो नहीं है मैं
exactly in danger either.
बंदा फाइनल में पहुंचे सामने वाले भी तो नूब तो नहीं है और एक हर राउंड के साथ कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ेगा अगर ये राउंड देख मेन क्या है अगर ये बहुत ज्यादा गैप्स आ रहे हैं ना तो आने वाले मैच बहुत ज्यादा इफेक्ट होंगे और ये क्लोज गैप्स आ रहे हैं तो आने वाले मैच में इनका माइंडसेट सही रहेगा कि हां भाई डुएबल है तो ये चाहते हैं नहीं तो अभी 3-0 में खत्म हो जाएगा क्या मतलब है 3-0 अच्छा थोड़ी लगेगा
creeping through here again. Alarm bot on the other side.
Getting my point.
Turret as well, just a little bit deeper. We'll give away the location here. Chronicle's even really going to overextend a little bit, actually. We'll find CNED. Second should be a given. Well, as I say, that Zeke sharp with that classic. Only one will fall. Rifle recovered as well.
This is a step up.
Say that Zeke sharp. Actually, we'll find CNED. Second.
Oh, bye.
Rifle recovered as well.
This is a step-by-step matter for Gambit. There's a couple of key rounds that we'll highlight when we get to them. The buy rounds coming in, a couple of bits and pieces here and there where it can filter through. But this is Gambit's bread and butter, right? This is what we've now known them for, this capability to close back in.
And particularly with the 9-3, you look towards the first buy round, then that first ultimate cycle, right? Which you look towards kind of round 4, 5 potentially. If things go if everything goes Gambit's way, that's when you start getting concerned because those are the snowball
bonus निकाल लिया तो मजा आ जाएगा.
This is the first challenge, I'd say.
But
if you get the bonus, you're laughing. But Gambit are going to stick on what they had. Defo does at least have the rifle. But, I mean, Chronicle's got a Ghost. Spectre's a weak purchase up against the Guardians and the rifles coming out from Ascend. So, let's see what the damage looks like for Gambit here. And that is a belter of a start for Defo. Takes a head off of Killers, but a quick culling right back. That's the rifle now lost from Gambit as CNED's mid-press is still going to maintain
अपन जैसे मिड में खड़े रहते हैं अपनी कितनी बुरी फटती है ये होता है टीम पे ट्रस्ट
as well. It being Killers, they know this is going to be the weaker side of the setup, but very quickly Ascend
पूरा एंगल क्लियर करते हैं फिर जाते
हैं. A little bit of space. Bone Cold, can he avoid that? I don't actually think he gets spotted there.
I don't think so.
भाई एम देख इस बंदे का एम देख
dangerous games now. Shados is the one closest to the corner, but CNED's going to just check him, body check him down. Ascend now striding towards the sights.
ये राउंड जीत जाते तो मजा आता.
It's going to be pretty much all the danger removed from the site and not much to really come from it. Nats and Chronicle. This wasn't an invested round though. If you look at what was coming through that Defo, I mean, yes, he had the rifle. No one else had anything really.
No. Again, he just wants to make the most out of it. If anything, playing much deeper than you'd maybe expect in the bonus, but no real contingency behind that. Nobody covering the possibility that Ascend had so many bodies bottom mid. Towards top mid, actually. Zeke will find another. Just one of his ultimate here, so whether or not they try and feed that kill over to Zeke.
Nats, अबे इस टूर्नामेंट में Nats चला नहीं बे. जितना चलता था ना, जितना मास्टर्स में चला था ना, जिसमें मास्टर्स गैम्बिट जीती थी, जो वाला मास्टर्स, उसमें चलता तो बात ही अलग थी.
That's big for Ascend to kind of stop this momentum.
मतलब ऐसा चलता तो बात ही अलग.
Have to make the most of this round.
This is when we talk about key rounds. This is one of them. And obviously Ascend know that as well. They're very aware. Now Gambit didn't go all that in on that last round. I wasn't eyeing it up too much. They seem to be happy to go in against the 10 rounds that will sit in the pocket of Ascend with the mere 5 of their own. But this is where it gets down to the nitty-gritty. We look at the op coming out for Defo, we look at the purchase. It's very robust, they're happy enough. Anything special? It looks pretty much like a kind of tube and your traditional APs, which does lean towards Defo as being the front man. He's going to find Zeke for free. Looks for a follow-up. There's no one there quite yet. You can see the vision. Just Oh, that got way too close. And Defo's feeling himself here. Pretty brave to be standing like this. What? Starzo walks in, makes a sight his own, and Ascend just bursts through. 5 now alive. Zeke back on his feet. And it's Nats and Chronicle who don't have much territory in this at all. And already look at that push-up. Killer is taking so much room towards that deep CT side.
Again, they've got to consider holding on to this.
That's a save in my mind.
Defo loses the op. There's no Blade Storm available. The next round for Gambit looks awful. Absolutely awful. Ascend going to keep 5 alive. I mean, actually, other than Zeke, there's not even shields that need repurchase in here. That is, by the book, the best possible scenario here. Keyless does give one away, but again, I think that's now giving Ascend everything they need to know that they're saving, guys. Don't even risk anything.
Yeah, you're fine.
It's a bigger loss for Ascend to give something away here.
Maybe try, as I said, I don't mind Keyless giving it a try, and that's it. You draw the line in the sand there for the economy going forward. I am impressed with Ascend at this point. I've got to say, keep in mind, Defo had the first pick, was able to fall away, didn't have an instantaneous trade. But Ascend, their spacing looked good, that pressure looked good. I'm seeing that semifinals form coming right on back through here in the grand finals.
Again, you talk about actually the other factors in here. Yes, they have the lockdown, but okay, Starzo.
Okay.
Just a pixel out of place. And again, the other thing is with Defo, there's no chance for him to dash away. With Zeke obviously popping that null command, there's the sort of round where the death ball around that KO ult is so devastating, especially if somebody, particularly a Jet with an operator, decides to kind of greet that. And it's almost like he's baited in by finding that first one. It's not, they actually stick the res in the open. That's crazy. And
it's forced a timeout out of Gambit here. Maybe to collect themselves, because we talked about pivotal rounds. That was one of them. And it was not a great look from Gambit. They got swept aside there. Honestly, if anything, an incredible look for Ascend. They've got to be walking away loving every moment of that, because they've been haunted on this map. They lost their last chance on this map. They got held at a strong lead and couldn't convert it. They got dragged back down, and a team like Gambit can absolutely do that to you. We aren't seeing it here. This is Ascend powering forward. And look, they look like a different team. They've grown. I think that's clear to see to anyone who was watching the previous events with Ascend. They used to be up and out of their chairs for literally everything. They've chilled it out a bit here.
And again, you talk about one of the big positives for Gambit, it's the composure, right? Me and Sean were having this conversation earlier. Coming away from that series yesterday is so exhausting. And again, with a team like Gambit, again, they start slow. Often they start slow and kind of warm up towards the end of series or towards the end of a map. But coming out of that, it's concerning to see it like this, though, because Ascend, if they have the opportunity to, I guess, just coast through the way that it felt that they did versus Liquid and play their own game, and I mean, everything is going their way right now. Every duel, every rotation pool, it's clinical. Again, actually a much wider spread here on this setup from Ascend, but they've already drawn this rotation again. Like I said, Nat's going to be the only one to try and defend a site here. We'll find
there it is.
There it is. Please, Nats, Maro, this one before it gets started.
And hey, if Defo can't do it, put Nats on the site and say, all right, bud, we need you to lock this down, otherwise we're done for. Spike left on his side, and the bullet just gives him a haircut. These three looking vicious. Cena does find Nats, but not without him finding another bullet to add to the tally. 2v4 isn't going to be easy. A lot of potential trades favorable as well. Cena still going to isolate Defo. We need you to lock this down, otherwise.
देखियो
can't do it, put Nats on the side.
No sound, why
nothing? We need you to lock this down, otherwise we're done for. Spike left on his side, and the bullet just does find.
That becomes a more pivotal round, right? Nat's one of the ones that hold on to that rifle from the previous, and he makes it absolutely worthwhile for Gambit here.
Oh, bye.
Again, you can see right here on the mini-map,
Ajmer player
and Red are both hitting this rotation. Real diligence shown on the side of Nats, and also a couple of kills to boot. Gambit will stabilize here. Again, 5,100 behind this purchase for Ascend as well. But again, this is the sort of round again. It's a buy round.
Look at the ults coming through. Gambit aren't far away either. Well, you're about to have that cycle hit.
Ult-wise, you want them also to build up the economy buffer here as well. So this first ultimate, I guess, full ultimate cycle here for Gambit, absolutely crucial.
And that was essential before, and he might be again. Redgar and I think Chronicle sitting a little bit deeper. He's going to be forced to relent slightly from that opening peak that he liked to have before. The one player notices they made their way through. So they know the op's already out towards the site here. Redgar going to keep trying to filter that information through. And Ascend playing around just the precipice of the site. They haven't quite fully committed yet. And look at these rotations. If they're able to explore the rest of the map, they could find maybe an option. But there were 4 players posted towards the A site.
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say, a key engagement becomes Keyless and Redgar or Defo here, and she is able to find an angle through. Nats will be detected on site as well.
Yeah, they've got to hit this site right about now. Chronicle trying to spam away, try and get some chip damage, but Nats is now surrounded. He's got players right, left, center. Ult comes in, and the plant going to be going down as well. Nats actually decides to get aggressive. Oh no, Nats unchecked is always deadly. Chronicle's got his side as well. And now we go into the last player standing, CNED. What do you got for us? Anything left in the tank? Absolutely not. His patience pays. Gets the op and gets another round.
And that's a scary one. Again, with
he pushed into that.
Yeah. At that point, traditionally, you'd expect Gambit to go, right, give it up, guys. Let's play strength in numbers. We'll come through. But right there, they get ahead of the curve, ahead of the spike, even comfortably being planted here. I mean, look. One Cold still, I mean, there's 3/4 progress there on the plant. Absolutely insane stuff from Nats. Again, 2 rounds in a row now.
Get out of my way.
They've humbled the money. Ascend get kept on 11 for now. Gambit should be able to convert this if all goes to plan, which, hey, there's some pressure coming in through those double doors. And Nats, again, how many times will he be tested? And how many times is he going to succeed? He stands his ground, and he delivers. Nats, again, is refusing to move. He doesn't know when he's dead. And the last player alive is Bone Cold, and they just can't get rid of him. Gambit, 4 stand, and the gap gets smaller.
And
भाई आया ना क्लोज आया ना bitches क्लोज आया ना
concerned for Ascend. Gambit can build a little momentum, and that's it. They pump the brakes.
Yep, they have to, because if I'm a coach and I'm watching my team get held on 11, I'm getting nervous because I know what happened last time. I've sat here and I've had to watch my team get stuck at this point. You have to address it now. Because these side hits are finding nothing. Nats is just running you around and making you look silly.
अपन अभी तो पट कुछ भी करते हैं. उम्मीद छोड़ देते हैं.
I'm not sure what it is again with Gambit almost being there to read both of these. Again, that Viper's Pit kind of being invested now implies maybe there's going to be a little variation to the setup. They might move Nats across to another site. Potentially Chronicle going to have a different setup here on the defense, but again, do Ascend come back to exploring B now? Do they see a little bit window of opportunity almost with mid? Because they came through double doors there, but again, the one player you don't want on the other side of a Cypher cage when you're flashing out of it is Nats, right?
Yeah, it's just stuff of nightmares.
No access to site, right?
None. There's only one site on this map.
बोला ना हेड्स के लिए देख रहे हैं. मैंने तेरे को पहले ही बोला था फेस्टिव हेड्स के लिए देख रहा हूं.
Find another way around. For now, though, this is when all that work
extreme
and all that
support,
adjustment
bro.
kicks in.
Best support.
And again, you look back at the rounds that Ascend have won. Have they learned enough about the setup? And actually, just come back to it here, we see exactly that. Nats and Chronicle now invested towards B site. Now, whether or not Ascend are going to poke a little bit on A, maybe not see Nats on the other side of it, and then think that there is an opportunity.
Yeah, but Defo can then overextend a little if he wants to, see if he wants to get a little Aggie on that peak.
Operator Blade Storm, he's a big swing factor in this round.
And he's got Sky with him, right?
They might even try and flash into shot, Bill.
I think that's exactly what we're seeing, which again, removes a couple of options. Angles his. The shot was so close, but he's going to fall away. Defo going to just fall back a little. And this now just falls onto Nats' his lap. He sat there, and this was the whole intention. They are running, they are forcing and herding Ascend this way. Now, he's not alone here, though. He does have a teammate with him as well, who will have support on this. It will be Chronicle, the dastardly duo.
This is crazy. Again, just that little bit of aggression forces Ascend to consider going elsewhere. They've noted the operator. Redgar's already looking to preempt this rotation. And they're walking into a really awkward setup here on the defense from Gambit.
And now they're like, oh no, surely not again. Surely this isn't what's happening. Look at the utility smothering them down. Nats is buying time after time. Can they finally take him down? No, they can't. Nats the immovable object. Unbelievable work from Nats. And Ascend can't escape him.
Banu dekh,
He's the final boss that they
भानु बनता है भानु बनता है
so close now.
That setup is beautiful. The snake bites, the nano swarm. There's nowhere for Cena to dash onto site. There's nothing for him to do. They stall for 3 seconds or so, and at that point, then Gambit like, we have the wall. Look at this here. There's literally nowhere for Ascend to push into, Lauren.
And this was all tailor-made.
कहो ऊपर लेफ्ट में मारा, नीचे राइट में मारा भाई.
This is good Valorant, man. This is what it's about. These mind games between the two. The Prime came in flawless. Really just to signify the scenario that Ascend are now in. Sheriffs, Frenzies, Light Armor. Can they get anything? Can they find that weakness, that avenue back, that way to remove a player? That ain't gonna be it.
That's the one you don't want to remove at the start of the round. Unless you're Gambit.
Yeah, Gambit fans now.
Nice.
Defo looks like he might even follow up on this. We'll hear the orb be retrieved, and look at that. It's a spike noted as well.
हमारा ना confidence आ रहा ना बस यही चाहिए और कोई जीते नहीं जीते कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Confidence चाहिए कि next match में कुछ कर पाएंगे. लेकिन अगर ये match Ascend हारती है तो बहुत गंदा confidence जाएगा.
Still staring down the barrel of Defo. Nats does actually deal with that lurk, so again, good indication here. Straight away he hits this rotation. Almost committed here, trying to find something.
I really like this. It's flawless again from Gambit, who are just striding through. And this is when we talk about their resilience, their capability, not just once or twice, so often to bring these scorelines back.
I'm pretty sure Nats was 12-9. He's now 24-9, which is just the most terrifying prospect ever. And again, like you said, this is literally Gambit setting up Ascend. They're baiting them into some of these rounds. And they keep biting. They keep biting.
They don't know what to do to get around it. Timeout comes in from Ascend. They need this map. In my mind, it's not just it being a best of 5, additional maps coming into play. It's the mental game.
Map 1 is so huge in a best of 5. It absolutely
100%.
is.
And we already know this about Gambit, and I do want this to be taken really on board, that they are so capable of these comebacks time and time again. Their unwavering faith in the in-game leadership, the coaching, the plan, whatever it is, it's just the result is flawless. And Ascend have sat there on 11. And they have not gotten...
For a while.
Yes, they have not gotten close. And if there's any other map as well, any other scenario, I wouldn't be as worried because it's a best of 5. But my mind does go back to that 100 Thieves game we were mentioning earlier, where they got stuck on a scoreline very similar to this and could not get over the finish.
No, they really couldn't. In terms of closing out, it's huge versus a team like Gambit. Like I said, if they find momentum, it's so difficult to overcome, because you come back to the things we discussed. Actually, Ascend were doing well on the defense. The variation, everything that Gambit are able to do on the defense, it's almost like you get to round 6 or 7 and you're back on your second or third buy round and you think, okay, well, do we naturally know what the setup's like? What are the indicators that we can kind of adapt to? Ascend have none of that right now. Again, they play deep enough once again to basically negate Zeke's early round utility. And they'll lean back towards what feels like looking for a pick, but set up here from Gambit, they're not going to give one away.
Let's say they continue to explore through elbow, up middle. It's going to be Nats again, isn't it? Maybe a quick lean comes in from someone like Defo, or, I don't know, Redgar comes across, who knows. But at this point, once again, they look towards B.
Interesting thing here will be if they can make use of this utility ahead of null command. There you go, actually it's popped straight away and immediately see the nano swarm to try and buy a little bit of time. And Chronicle will find it.
But he pushes into this. The confidence is just uncontestable. And Nats is the back line and he is not going to fall away. Nats just destroyed them. You can't run and you can't hide. Nats is right there every single time.
I can't believe they've just done it again. That's a 5-man hit that Chronicle and Nats are able to completely shut down with the null command. And like I said, there's a window of opportunity where you have to make use of this utility ahead of the execute, right? Particularly, we talk about, this just comes down to gunfights, right?
And look at the synergy between these two players.
Chronicle bails out and Nats is like, cool, I'll pick up the slack.
Buddy. Yep. I'm right there. And you can see it between them. In perfect synergy in the switch up. And again, Nats is on the A side.
Yeah.
He's everywhere they want to be. This is literally like a nightmare. They don't know how to get away from him. A quick underhand flash, but look at this Bulldogs. Light armor. They don't even have the full kit and caboodle. They're working with less. An aggressive posture as well from Defo. He's taking space elsewhere.
And again, if they note this, if Defo finds a kill, it's going to force them back towards the site they don't want to hit.
And I love how they're using this, though. Defo on one side taking a bit of space. We saw it with the flash
so
before.
much map control here.
And now let's see if he can keep this sort of presence, though, because it's tricky. He could get punished. And actually gets away with his life, luckily and surprisingly. 35 HP, can filter away, doesn't get punished for it. Shadows there just to try and facilitate that escape plan if he needs it. And well, they've decided maybe B's the site to go to, as that's where the op is, I guess.
Again, Wall not invested yet from Starzo. He's got his Viper's Pit, so it looks like they are leaning towards a B hit once again. Again, they're very cautious. They're trying to figure out where Defo's repositioned to. He might be trying to bait a little contact here at double doors.
Yeah, they've got an early rotation as well. Chronicle's coming over. I quite like that. Defo's got himself off and out the old. Nat still finds one. No matter what they do, Ascend can't do anything. They are left without an answer. That is just a clean sweep from Gambit. Presented the impossible. Tries to make it happen. And Gambit take the lead from Ascend.
Without breaking a sweat. Honestly, some of these rounds are just they're played so well, and like you said, the synergy in the system that Gambit's able to invest around Chronicle and Nats so often. Again, Chronicle, he's so sharp, and he has been the last few days. Again, you think back to that ace on Bind, and wow, I'm speechless. Ascend once again now staring down the barrel. I gotta say it, fumbling a big lead on Breeze.
Yes, absolutely. And half of me, you know, you do have to look a little bit towards what Ascend are doing wrong, but it's so hard to take it away from Gambit are doing so right. Nats and Chronicle, to me, this duo is just undeniable brilliance in every aspect of it. Defo, again, has the Seekers to set him up. You can have the ult coming in. Nothing seems possible for Ascend.
Well, Viper's Pit, A site. Nats is going to hold on to that here, whether or not see Gambit readjust. Look how deep Defo is once again.
Now that's a good pick, though. Zeke finding Chronicles actually pretty important. Maybe this is a chance. Say that with this man still lingering around. And Defo's still exploring deeper and deeper, finding the ways if they keep leaning back this way. It's a very real possibility he catches one of these players. Looks like he's going to spot Killers pretty soon. And he does, he finds Killers, and oh, he just got a glimpse of a second. 100% confirmation they are eyeing up this side of the map. He can fall away and buy a lot of time. They don't have to over-rotate.
Well, again, the fact that it's Keyless on, like, knowing how Keyless plays, you see here, Shados actually doubles down. So it looks like Ascend still want to try and navigate their way past this Viper's Pit onto A.
Good luck. Because we know who's there. Redgar this time holds across. Zenith finds one. Redgar sprays in. He gets one connection, but it's still going to be Nats, who finally gets denied by Starzo. There's a chance! And he gets ripped away, Redgar! It's 10 seconds! It's over! 13-11! The nightmare resurfaces for Ascend and Gambit.
तेरे को बोला था ना मैंने भाई बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग टीम है भाई इनने सेंटिनल को पेला था ना
They looked flat. It looked all perfect for Ascend.
देख इसको देख तू
Once again, the Iron Giants made their appearance.
यहाँ पे सब वो कर सकते हैं बट कितना कूल मामला बना रखा है इन लोगों ने क्योंकि अभी लड़ गए ना एक बार किसी ने किसी को कुछ बोल दिया ना तो इनको पता है इनकी पूरी मेहनत खराब हो जाएगी पूरी की पूरी मेहनत खराब हो जाएगी
This guy's been putting up MVP worthy performances. That right there, the duo for Gambit, single-handedly on the back of those two players, Lauren.
Look, I love seeing that Chronicle and Nats combo. Between the two of them was beautiful. Zeke had a great performance. Zenith was not quiet either. This was a good-looking Ascend on the first half.
It really was, and again, you think back. In terms of control, in terms of having their finger on the pulse, Ascend felt as if they'd adapted perfectly to Gambit, right? The side switch comes in. What do we do? We're back in a scenario where we're talking about Gambit looking 10 times better on the defense than they do on the attack. Which again, you think, well, that's fine, right? It doesn't even matter what happens in the first, because once they stabilize, once they get a lock on the economy, this variation on defense for Gambit is just so difficult for Ascend, because the early rounds are so one-sided. They learn nothing from some of these losses.
This is only map 1. We have a best of 5 grand final in front of us, and if this is anything to go by, it's gonna be one of the best we've ever seen between these two. Gambit bringing out all the stops, nothing left to hide, nothing left to, you know, shy away from. And as you said, Chronicle, Nats, headliners in this. Let's head to a break so the devs can jump in and talk you through everything we just saw.
देखेगा भानु और देखेगा तू बता इनका कितना गंदा प्रमोशन हुआ अभी मैं श्राउड के रिएक्शन देखता हूँ भाई श्राउड के रिएक्शन क्या थे फैंस भी देख रहा है आईडी के साथ बैठ के नाइस टोटल भानु 900K लोग देख रहे हैं 900K कितना होता है 10 लाख लोग देख रहे हैं ट्विच पे और बाकी जगह तो पता ही नहीं है इसमें से 1 लाख तो काइडी के चैनल पे जो टेंस की गर्लफ्रेंड है उसकी
Ascend had a great start, but Gambit, they had an even better second half. They secure Breeze after yet another comeback. I'm back on the desk with Sean Riv. And Jess, this is a theme now. It's starting to become a theme for Gambit to have a slow start and Jess, but in the end, they close it out.
I did say at halftime, I was like, you can never count Gambit out. Out of all of the teams in the tournament that I counted to be able to come back from something like that, it was Gambit. And I don't know, maybe sometimes I have a positive curse, maybe I have a negative curse, whatever aura I have, I'm sending it to both of the teams because this is awesome.
Yeah, and this is where the mental strength of Ascend is truly tested.
Yes.
I mentioned they weren't really tested in that Liquid game. They weren't playing from behind ever, besides that first best of 3. Now the tables turn. This is Gambit in the driver's seat all the way in my eyes.
What blows my mind is Gambit is literally probably still reeling from the night before. Find themselves Gambit's like coming back, going down off the adrenaline just to pick it back up, and it did not seem to phase them. And Nats back on that scoreboard. All we could talk about at Masters 3, and he wants that again.
Yeah, he was very ratty. You know, back to the ratty natty we've come to know and love. love. Sean, him and Chronicle, the sheer speed in which they killed everybody on the side of Ascent was insane.
Yeah, here's some numbers from Nats' game. 337 ACS, plus 19, 4-0 in First Bloods, 217 damage around. He just dominated the second half. This is a game where his team started behind 3-9, and he put up those numbers.
It's not even just that. If you put the Chronicle and Nats duo upon which that map was dominated in the second half by, there was 4 2Ks from Nats, 4 3Ks, and you looked at Chronicle, he had 6 2Ks and his own 3K. They were popping off in the multi-kill department, and every round, especially, it didn't matter what side it was, but the kill feed was raining blue, and I was like, this is a tsunami, and they can't escape. There's no oxygen. They're being suffocated.
I knew Ascend was in trouble when I looked at Yinsu, and I noticed Zeke had his null command, and I said, oh my gosh, Nats is positioned so deep right now in defender spawn as a counter to the null command. He's way past the distance of this ability, and he dropped the molly to support Chronicle, and the hold on B was flawless. This game is over. Gambit has everything ready.
I mean, they just killed them all. It was like almost crew-esque, right? Yeah. Where everybody didn't even have time to plant because by the time they got onto the site, they were already dead. But that's going to be very, very scary for Ascent. I feel like the saving grace of that, Riv, is the fact that is Gambit's map pick. So, you know, it's not the end of the world for Ascent.
Yeah, that would have been the leg up for Ascent if Gambit didn't come back on that. Ascend really being able to carry themselves great on their attack halves, it seems, but losing their footing when it seems like they were playing a Gambit's game, right? They stopped playing their own. They started saying, well, wait, how can we stop X instead of rolling the map like they want?
Oh,
this is just stupid.
I was going to say, I was speaking about the Nats Chronicle duo and I was talking about those multi-kills and whatnot. Please let us not forget that Chronicle went on to a bit more of a comfort agent in this map as well. And of course, Nats, he was where we expected him to be. And I just think that comparing them on the screen, don't do that. Just know that this duo was what pushed Gambit over the line.
Yeah, that was silly looking at the stats. But we also saw some silly stuff on the side of Ascend as well. This Verizon high-speed moment goes to Zeke with this clutch. In round 4, we're going to have to cast our minds, Sean, all the way back to the first half of the game.
Yeah, and this was such a pivotal moment for Ascend early in this game. This is what gave them the massive advantage in the first half. Riv said, you know, you get that one round, and Ascend just immediately wins the next one to reset your economy, gives them all their ult set up, and you know, it's what started the 9-3 half.
How do you fall so far from that, though? It's so interesting to see Gambit can still find those powerhouse shooters as well as play the map to always be in the face of Ascend. We heard it multiple times from Pansy and Hypoc that Nats was always there. Whether he was at B, whether he was at A, he was always finding the right spot.
It's like the solve is, we just don't go to their site, but he's everywhere. Like, at what point do you just give up on that game plan as well? But speaking of Nats, let's take a look at one of the most important aim lab shoot-arounds we've had as we prepare for map 2. Nats, we always make these jokes, but give us your sense, you know, your routine, everything, Sean, because this guy is turning out when it matters.
Yeah, imagine your controller and Sentinel player being able to aim like this. You know, just people coming through a molly taking double damage when this guy's aiming like this. They're all dead.
You know what I said on the pre-dex that, you know, Nats had sort of speculated that he might have to reinvent himself. He might have to change the way he lurks. Well, he did on this map, but he did it in such a way that instead of being known as that dominant lurker across the map, he decided he would lurk inside smokes. He would lurk through screens. He would get right up in your face, and rather than doing these long rotates and flanks, he said, I'm just going to meet you in the middle, and that's my brand new identity. So hope you enjoy it because I'm going to be inside smokes.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to talk about Ascent now because they can have slow starts, you know, it's okay. They know how to come back. But Riv, when you get onto Ascent, especially after some of the performances we've seen them already on this map, they really cannot afford to have a slow start against Ascent.
Absolutely, because when you see how Ascent plays out, you can be right up front to those sites. You can have instant hits, and Ascent can take control and create the tempo of the game. That's what we see them love to do. I brought up the Omen earlier. The way that they play with that allows you to play faster. We probably won't see it here as that's the switch up in agents, but the way you can attack Ascent, Gambit has to be ready because Ascend love to play it fast.
Riv, promise me that we see a duelist in the Gambit comp?
Oh my god.
No,
Can we get the Sky
Omen,
for
please.
Defo?
Omen, please. I beg for the Omen,
Just need
man.
a single duelist.
I am a little bit apprehensive because I had a chat with Redgar yesterday after game, and I did ask him why they didn't run the duelist, and he said that their composition was specifically worked up in order to counter a KO.
Okay.
Now,
Zeke?
the likelihood of us seeing a KO is pretty high, but maybe they do change their game plan today because, Sean, it just didn't work yesterday.
Well, they gave us a different look on Breeze, so based on what you just said, I'm thinking Gambit's running it back with a no duelist comp, and I think this is a mistake.
Oh,
they
please give me
failed to
Omen.
create so much. They failed to create distance.
If they do run that comp, they're on defense first. That's if have multiple sentinels, the no duelist comp on.
Oh, they
Yes.
changed it. Okay, they went back
Shadows
to
takes the Sky.
yeah, they went back to what I think maybe should work a little bit better this time around, Jess.
Oh, I mean, I'm just devastated. No Omen. Also, throughout the groups, I got no Phoenix. I'm sitting here just wanting one of these, you know, niche picks to come up and make a huge difference because let us not forget, Omen wasn't the worst pick, but I think what they've picked here is good because you get your duelist. We're getting a couple of flashes to go with, and I love Astra on this map and many maps, so I think it'll work well, this composition.
I mean, with this new comp, Sean, how do you counter the KO here? What do you do?
Oh, it's going to be very difficult for them to counter the KO, and this is something actually that Gambit dealt with at Masters of Berlin. You go back to when they played 100 Thieves. Steel had a lot of success on the KO on Ascent against Gambit. How have they changed since those moments against KO? That's what we're going to have to find out now because they're running that same comp.
Well, Ascend, they need to win here if they want to pull the series a little bit closer in their favor. Let's jump into Ascend here with Pansy and Hypok.
Yeah, let's jump into it indeed. We do have something that I really want to initially talk about here as well, is seeing that KO and now seeing Nats from map 1 looking fantastic. But we also saw what happened against X10 when he got targeted so directly.
Yeah, literally. In so many rounds, and actually testament to how Cruz actually played that. I said it was one of the best performances from one map alone that we've seen from KO. So a lot of this rides on, again, potentially countering Nats, right? We've seen, obviously, slight adjustment on the composition, so maybe that leans towards a little bit more of comfort on the side of Gambit, but I think it's as well with Ascend. They're probably going to watch that and thought, hey, actually,
this works.
Why don't we just try pushing Nats?
That's crazy.
You think map 1, did that work? Not so well.
Well, now, you know, you got to rekindle that faith, right? You got to kind of bring yourself back together. And it is map 2 time. If you're just tuning into the grand finals, Gambit picked up map 1. And
Cypher is on, which Cypher is on.
Hey, they had the lead and they dropped it. And you're right. What is going on between these two? It's so quick in towards that A site. And already we're going to see that pressure towards Nats. He's going to be kind of dealt with towards Tree for now, but he's still got a gun in his hand. And that might be just enough for him. Yeah, good luck targeting this man. He'll do it all with that target on his back. As Starzo now left in the 1v4.
That's a Redgar sets up green. We'll find the first, actually the second as well from Starzo. That's fantastic work. Defo actually will swing through with Shados. They find it. And again, Ascend, try and pump a little bit, try and bait a little presence, but Gambit proactive on the defense. We don't see this very often from them. It's not often they go looking, they go hunting for a fight here, particularly in the pistol round, but again, diligence-wise, nobody considering the possibility. I think actually Zeke finds Nats in tree, and nobody considers the possibility he's going to swing out of the smoke. It's almost, you want them to follow up on that utility. They're relying on a little bit of a, I guess, a complacent hold on the side of Gambit.
And I don't think we've ever put the words complacent next to the name Gambit, have we?
No.
A little bit of a switch up in positioning as well, I'd say, with that Astra. Playing towards the A site, even on tree, though, we still saw how well prepared Nats was. A trade out. And hello, Bone Cold, finding Defo, and now we've got a player advantage towards Ascend. How do they work from this point on? So can they draw these rotations? Can they find the right place to be? It looks like B might be what they desire, but on the other side, we know who's there. Chronicle waiting. Spectre locked and loaded. Has a quick glance. Sees nothing for now. Does he get any information off this?
Turret का sound आ गया, मतलब
Good
इसको
timing
पता है
on
कि
that,
एक बंदा
he's now got his recon bolt again, so potential here if he's Given an
He's
audio
so alone
cue.
though.
अबे नहीं
Shadows
नहीं
is
नहीं नहीं
all the way
नहीं नहीं
in spawn. Now the contact's made. He has to buy a little bit of time. Just the last piece of utility put to work just before he backed away. Confirmation of 2. And there's that lean through from CT. Nats is en route as well. Chronicle, oh, good for the double. The triple not quite as Bone Cold carries off forward. That's the Bone Cold that we know with the Sheriff. And is there any more? Shados, a 1v2. Spike not down, 20 seconds to play with. As Bone Cold trying to be the protector, the bodyguard on this, but has to slip away, sit deeper on the site. But it gives a second, and that might be all Shados needs. A quick flash and a peek. Pushes in, and Bone Cold. That is the man with the Sheriff. It may not be on the Omen, but he's still damn good.
I said this earlier, you give him a Sheriff and any round can look winnable for Ascend. And right there, finding 4 kills. And an opening as well. You can see straight away, they drift back towards B. And at that point, you think Chronicle, yeah, the recon bolt, the Owl drone uses, the timing's perfect for it. He actually still had 2 shock darts. I'm
exam कब खत्म हो रहे हैं? Date बताइए exam की तरह.
Instead, not able to buy enough time. And unfortunately, in terms of rotation, they get picked apart.
This is a huge turn of events, so just from momentum alone, Ascend desperately needed that. What is that? Look at the info! And they just scurry and get out of there like little rats escaping the ship. All noted, all seen. And I like a stack. Look, I'll absolutely back that every day of the week. If you're on Sheriff's Classics, you're trying to make something happen out of nothing, why not give it a go? But for now, this will be, hopefully, clean enough for Ascend, and there's the dash, and actually, Killis is fully blind. Fully blind. Bone Cold needs to be careful here. They can crest this corner if they're feeling themselves. The rifle is in, but they just play as numbers, play as the pack. A 3v3, there's no way this gets more dangerous. Okay, Spike's going A. Okay, it's okay.
Somehow, it's
okay.
a 2v2
though. Thrifty bitches.
Oh, he's got his ult.
Full HP. एक के पास एक टीम के पास आर्मर नहीं है, एक टीम के पास आर्मर है. Both have rifles. Easy.
Actually, Zeke looking to get a little bit aggressive at the time, and the flash going to be.
Timing खेल गया.
It's whiffy.
Spotted.
It's really not that good. Zeke needs to fall away. He's bought a little bit of time, but it ain't much. Still with another flash though, he should be able to do some work. Placing it in potentially. But they do have rifles. Here's that flash, underhand, sends it in. Timing is everything. CNED set for success, gets one on the crosser now, down to Redgar, and it's CNED to keep things just about in check, but I mean, they found 3 players there, took away those rifles, going to force out the reinvestment. This is a damn close game.
And the important thing, the stack's detected so early, but still they don't commit the spike, right?
Yep.
They know just on the off chance that Chronicle goes huge again and stops that B-site hit. Again, Zeke. A little bit whiffy, but the information is there early enough. Cena can kind of just tuck in and wait for that peek out.
Zeke being
a little lower HP wise.
देखा जाए 1080. अच्छा मेरी मॉनिटर ही गलत है, मेरे को छोटा मॉनिटर देना.
I was worried naturally a little bit of weapon there, but they come in at the last second. Ascend showing presence. Defo just brazen in the swing there, and Cena will punish it.
पूरा दौड़ के आया बंदा यार.
That's a big amount of information.
ऐसे भी नहीं walk करके आया.
Shados gets a freebie and a nasty one. Shados hasn't seen anything, and he's still finding them. 2 huge kills, and it's just CNED keeping this one looking potentially likely. The 3v3 presented, and they've got no ground. They have to peel away with the spike for now.
Again, Bone Cold.
दोनों tag miss कर दिए
भाई. Hunter's Fury there, but no information gathered on the back of it. Chronicle will be spotted there.
Jump spot. देखो सीखो jump spot.
Look for Bone Cold now to potentially re-aggress.
यार ये नहीं बहुत अच्छा है ना मानो.
Sure, but the Cosmic Divide will go up just to lock them out of A site for the time being.
उसका Valorant credits का. Valorant points ही बोलते हैं ना उन्हें.
You don't walk this, do you, Bone Cold?
Surely not.
You wouldn't do that. Maybe in timing.
Timing हो गया, timing हो गया. बेचारे के साथ बहुत बुरा timing हो गया.
Great timing, the push and the pull, taking the eyes away from the prize. But the spike now has to get towards the site. Spike going down. I don't think anything's going to stop it. Chip damage enough. Killers is going to respect that and fall away to a new post-plant position eventually.
Spike planted.
They're pretty early on though, Keyless. Wise to it. Nats now the last man standing 1v2.
And there's the contact made. They now know the position he's working from. They try and stay as a pack, but it's still Nats. One side, going to be one, the other on the other, and this is just lovely work. And you see Ascend had to really keep check on that. You drop that ball for a second, you allow him to 1v1. He might have exploded it, but Ascend, a lot of things presented there, and they actually succeeded against it.
Absolutely. the awkward thing becomes if Ascend now try and revert back to a slower default and try and poke, because Gambit are showing willingness to greet Ascend, whichever side they... this is, I think, the third time they've shown a little bit of presence early round on A, and this time around they do follow up. It's looking like another stack towards A here. Again, a Spectre, 2 Spectres, sorry, invested here for Gambit. Ascend just going to try and roll on through.
Yeah, investing in the other divide as well. It's going to allow them safe passage. Yes, they'll be noticed already on the camera, but that'll be just fine. That's not really the biggest bother. I think they've seen a fair amount.
Yes. Taking that back. Figured out exactly where half of Ascend are here, and the really aggressive 4 comes through B main.
Let's see if we can keep it looking lush as ever. Starzo and CNED in perfect unison, leaving just Redgar, and I think he's already been well and truly discovered. They're lining him up, and they're knocking him down. Ascend gonna keep things chugging forward. But look, after the first map, I can't think it's ever over.
देखिए फ्लैश होने के बाद ऐसे इधर उधर नाचते नहीं है, वो फ्लैश हुआ था, बट एक ही जगह खड़ा था, क्या हो गया तो मरना था, उधर उधर नाचेगा तो वैसे ही मर जाएगा.
How much do you take away from these first 5 rounds?
Yeah, I've never watched a team where it's always felt so possible for a turnaround to happen. Now, the economy kind of got shaken up a little bit by the conversion of the second by Ascend, then we saw that kind of stack almost work out. The money's been actually kept relatively humble, obviously a little bit now building in the bank for Ascend. But I want to see what Gambit do now with a decent purchase. Big information off the back of the flash, and Zeke gonna now try and power on forward. Takes everything he can with him, but now on the other side, Defo. Oh, there it is. Good shot from Defo. Comfortable enough, but it's not the only one here. And actually, Killers, what? He unleashes himself. 2 huge frags, keeping Gambit at bay. And it's now down to Chronicle. Locked out, blinded, has no chance for now. Has to rescind for a second.
We'll get tagged out as well. He's gonna look to follow up on that information. Just to slow him down a little bit as well.
हेड दिया उसने भाई आखिर ये मरते मरते.
Like he will peel away, try and hold on to this rifle.
कहाँ से ड्रोन कर देते हैं भानु, कहाँ से ड्रोन कर देते हैं लोग.
It's so difficult for Ascend to maintain this pace, this level of aggression, right? Because just one round, Gambit can switch up. We know Nats likes to rotate, and some of these fast hits can get completely shut down by one trapwire, an orb shot from Defo. So far, at least, since starting as they mean to carry on through this half.
Yeah, and just exiting as a pack, keeping as many of these weapons in hand as they can.
जब सो जाए तो बता दियो, stream बंद कर दूँगा मैं.
Looking for a big adjustment inside the Gambit here. Not necessarily in this next round, to look at the economy, but they need to stop some of this momentum on the side of Ascend. Whether or not they start exploring mid, maybe greet some of this presence towards Catwalk if Ascend opt to go this
again
way.
One fight.
Keyless, man, just I love this though. They're moving with intent. You can see how eager they are to try and close out that tag with the owl drone. Gambit actually going to call a timeout here to potentially consider some of the things we've been discussing.
And there's options aplenty. I don't think this is worrying times yet for Gambit. We've already seen that in the first map anyway, but even just at this scoreline, I don't think there's any problems. They have a deep enough strat, even just at face value, that we know that they have options in this. I think something that's a little different to my eye, at least, is that it's actually Bone Cold who's having a bit of a moment here. We've seen pretty much everyone else from that side have some really big impactful rounds, you know, some influential games, but Bone Cold's been kind of the quiet leader. And now he's kind of leading from the front a little.
And that's a big positive. You talk about maintaining pace and keeping up the pressure. When you have I guess a player that's not always reflective numerically. When you look back at some games, it's always a big confidence booster to have a player like that come online. Again, seen it. I don't want to say he had a quiet map 1, but in terms of the second half of that, he wasn't able to achieve an awful lot on the attack. Again, Defo shutting down a lot of those with just simply rotating. It's really difficult when you're kind of getting battered back and forth and completely locked out of sights, where you then have to, next buy round, you're exploring where the operator is. Makes it really, really tricky.
And we talked about the last round that it wasn't masses. Now it's starting to really get robust. 5.3, 6.3, plenty of credits now sitting behind this buy for Ascent. It's odds and ends.
And actually, this is key here in the anti-eco. Ascend will show a little presence towards mid. Fury will actually deal with the lockdown here. Defo will find one with the shorty. Quickly traded out though. And find an opening towards A. Actually, Starzo close enough to hear the sound cue. We'll find the first. Redgar will fall. We'll find the second as well. That's the last man standing.
Okay, not much damage done. We talk about maybe chipping away at it, forcing them some repurchases. Nothing.
And at this point, it doesn't mean an awful lot either.
Nope.
With a 5-round deficit.
How much of it? Bone cold.
And Defo's been quiet. So actually, most of Gambit have been.
यार तो नेट के पीछे पड़ जाओ साला पे निकाल दिया ना एक पूरा मैच.
And it's night and day. But again, 3 rounds is all they needed on the first. This though looks a little bit more commanding, and again, when we look at the map choice, this does sit like you'd imagine Ascend should be able to get across the finish line on this. And hopefully that then opens up the entirety of the map pool, get a full best of 5.
Hopefully.
Would be nice.
Because the next one's a bit of a curveball as well.
It's a bit weird. We'll talk about that when he gets to it as well. But into this one, Seekers do come through and confirm they need to get a bit of a wiggle on.
Defending me opening के लिए बहुत अच्छा
map
मैप है.
site. So the duo who surprised us, Chronicle and Nats, hitting such high notes on map 1, could do with a bit of that now. But they actually peel away.
So on the back of the Aldrone and the Seekers here, you can see Cena will actually get picked off there, but Redgar and Shados have pushed up so deep towards A. You can see him pinged out on the minimap.
करेंगे check.
They have to check
Starzo
this.
knows exactly where they are. He's pinged them on the minimap.
But I still want Bone Cold Zeke. If they even start trying to play towards middle, really trying to address this, even with just a swing, this is not what I wanted. That's a disaster in the making. And now he predicts the push-up as well.
Oh, bhai! What a duo, bro.
Remember this hit. Oh, Redgar as well. That's the Gambit you need to find form.
And again, if they can pull this off in a couple of these rounds, these flanks coming through will create so much paranoia for Ascend, especially on some of these fast hits. They can't continue leaving these huge gaps on the map.
But you were right, though. It was pinged out, right? Like, that was...
Straight away. And
इसलिए मैप कंट्रोल बहुत जरूरी है. कॉम्पिटिटिव में इजी होगा. अगर तू डिलीस नहीं खेल रहा है, तो टीम को देख के खेल. तेरी टीम एक जगह घुस रही है. अगर मतलब पहले 2-3 राउंड में समझ में आता है. अगर एम है तो फिर तो कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं है. पर एम नहीं है तो तू अलग खेलना चालू कर. वो जहाँ से मर रहे हैं ना. अगर रैंक अप करना है तो मेरे रैंक में इसलिए होता है कि जो टीम का वीक पॉइंट होता है ना, मैं वो स्ट्रांग करने की कोशिश करता हूँ. इसलिए मैं उनको सपोर्ट लेता हूँ.
Time for maybe a little bit of a get your heads back into the right space. Focused.
बैकशिप पे वैसे ट्रिप लगा देता हूँ. साइफर होता है, बट मतलब कि ऐसे कि वो बहुत जल्दी रोटेट कर रहे हैं तो दूसरे अलग करो.
Gambit showing hints of being versatile as well. We don't often see them overstep on defense. They don't like to get too aggressive in terms of pushing out.
इस राउंड ही सिर्फ एमएन खाली छोड़ा. हर राउंड एमएन जाते हैं और हर राउंड वो अपना वो डालता है. इस राउंड एमएन छोड़ा और देखिए गैप आ गया.
Away from B main. And it works perfectly for them.
Yeah, what a great read on that. What a timing to pull it out as well. Timeout will come to conclusion. We said at 3 does get a little unnerving. However, it's only 2 right now, so they could be just fine. Right?
Surely.
Surely. I'm looking at... I think it's Defo and Shade also towards that B site. I wonder if they get a little proactive on it, but it is...
यार ये कॉन्फिडेंस चाहिए वे सिंगल पे पिक करने का.
Eye test looking like an A piece for now.
Again, Nat's key in this scenario. He's not looking to get suppressed on site. He's playing deep towards tree. For him to swing back into bail Redgar out if this hit comes through. Ascend creeping closer and closer, and it's looking pretty committed.
Yeah, the rotations are kind of in, though. 2 players already swinging past CT with that deep play coming out from Defo. They feel pretty solid about this, and Nats wants to get in towards it. Redgar already going to spray through. Good for 1, finds killers. Nats tries to thread the needle. Zeke all too aware this time. Fell for it before, not twice. Shados and Redgar might have to respect this now, full away from Tree, because you can already see the counterplay coming out from Ascend. They want to get aggressive right back at him, and Zeke and Starzo find 2 kills in quick succession. Putting such favor by their side if they can get the spike down.
मेरा तो मन कर रहा था मैं W दबा के घुस जाऊं.
He's thinking about it.
He's really considering this. It's time to go. Gave it a damn good attempt, but careful now. Cena was ready to get involved as well. Not to be. They back away and look for the next option, which actually isn't a bad shout, but the door gets shut in their face.
Defo had to swap off that operator to make it a little bit easier on the way back in. And nothing to work off, though. 2 smokes for Defo, but you see Ascend set up to greet them here.
Clears the right corner with the spray through the smoke, but it's 2 sitting at very favorable angles on the left side. That's going to make it very tricky. Can't get it done, and now Chronicle caught by Zeke, and another big impact round from the man himself. 3 still stand, and Ascend pick up where they left off, 7-2 now.
Actually, credit where credit's due. Gambit read that perfectly after not feeling any pressure on the side of B main. I'm not sure if actually any of Keylez's utility is noted. Actually, did actually eat that flash on the way out. You can see Gambit tried to swing out of the cage. Try and reduce the numbers on the side of Ascend. But like I said, Gambit read this perfectly. They're set up in the right place, but unfortunately just a couple of engagements not going their way. And we're back in a scenario now after that 1 round win. It's almost torn apart. There's 1,800 credits behind this purchase for Gambit.
Yes, doesn't sit well, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
Zeke's got ult as well. CNED has his if he fancies it. On the other side, no masses of intent to read into early. Still going to try and find some of that information. You can see the dog being invested over towards that B site. Going to push up. Don't know if it caught a glimpse. It might have done on Bone Cold if it did just turn in time, but I don't see anyone rotating to support that.
So the big indicator there is if you see Redgar or Nats, where again they're trying to counter Zeke's ultimate here with how deep Nats is playing. He wants his trap wires and his spy cam available.
Powerless.
Okay, Defo, Shados. Now going to be suppressed and have to just have a gun in the hand. That's been good pick on the first.
Oh my god!
Shados, quick as lightning, finding 3 and sending Ascend right on back. Defo wants to take that space. And this is brutal work from Gambit. That site's all theirs. CNED. I wouldn't want to go through there again. It's just a grinder.
But ये साले मेरे को Gambit का पता है मेरे को रे इनकी आदत है.
There's no way in. There is no way into this. 23 seconds now. 4 players here. Plenty of utility. Shadow still has 2 flashes if he wants to just keep buying time if he wants to. There's 1. Just let them know, yeah, they're still around. Don't overpeak it, boys.
10 seconds left.
साला 1 HP में भी घुस गए. क्या कर रहे हैं? क्यों? Why? अच्छा economy down कर रहे हैं.
And 3 seconds left. CNED still gets Redgar, but it's going to be 3 on the board.
Great adjustment. Fantastic read once again from Gambit. Those trap wires would have been huge if they could have got past the choke point. Shados stops them at the front door.
एक इधर लगाया, ठीक है.
Massive from him.
दूसरा कहाँ लगा रहा है?
Kill is Zeke out.
दिख नहीं रहा मैप में. हाँ, वो दिख रहा.
Dreamy work.
एक B-mail पे.
This is interesting though. Zeke's
okay.
investing into an operator here. Not sure if that will be cycled across or whether or not he's just going to go for an early round peek here towards top mid.
Flash.
Nothing on the other side of it though.
I don't think Gambit have really been challenging through middle like this. This hasn't been one of those like, oh, Defo's making a lot of impact here. It's been...
They're losing these rounds on the rotate. They don't need to fight for mid.
Yeah. And speaking of rotate, you can already see the lean back towards that A side. I don't know what the tails are, looks like a good read again.
उसने भी उसी टाइम पे recon किया.
Confirmation there, yep.
Yeah, they're going to be happy with that. That's going to be at least revealed somewhat. Position now considered. Do they adjust off the back? Do they decide to go back towards that B piece? For now, the 4 players in middle looking for the start, and Redgar already going to deny it. That was the kind of split working towards A, and this again keeps telling these concepts of this.
Off se kaun push karta hai ise?
Zeke! What is Zeke trying to do with this? He's getting now out of it.
Actually, you can see Sender stacked up here. The trap wire will confirm CNED's entry towards B side.
But it's so geared for a retake, and Zeke looks...
They don't even need to retake.
Yeah, Chronicle's doing just fine already.
पता नहीं क्या इनके सालों के Gambit वालों के हाथ गर्म नहीं होते. राम जाने क्या होता है.
Aware and maybe hit that rotation through CT,
साला 5-6 राउंड तो हारेंगे ही हारेंगे.
They didn't even need to go to that mode yet. So Bone Cold now.
साले flawless पहले जा रहे हैं तो last में इसने overpeak कर दिया.
And I've got to say that was I feel like maybe Ascend trying something that wasn't needing to be addressed.
No, I think you're bang on the money there. This is almost reminiscent of running out of steam, running out of ideas, potentially now second-guessing themselves. Like I said, a few rounds where Gambit have pushed out, it's built that paranoia that Ascend feel as if they need to slow down the early round. And that one flank actually towards top mid. That one push through A
वो
main.
क्रू थी ना टीम
Shade off
क्रू
some Redguard.
जो कल इनके साथ खेली थी
This is the
इनके अपोनेंट में
Yeah, that was
असेंड
the
के अपोनेंट
catalyst to
में
all of this.
वो अपने ग्लोबल स्पोर्ट्स के साथ खेली
And
थी
now there is not
सेमीफाइनल
just a
में
window of
अच्छा निकाला था
opportunity.
सेमीफाइनल
The
भाई
door's been
बिल्कुल
opened. This could be
मतलब
5-7. We have to
एक
look
राउंड
at
से आ रहे हैं अपन
what's
इंडिया
coming
वाले
back in for this though for Ascend. They
क्रू
are down
नीता
at
क्रू
this
चैंपियंस में नहीं होती
Phone call
होती है
there.
भाई ऐसी बात नहीं है
Purchase not perfect. Let's see what they can do. Looks like an A hit coming in.
Again, look, Defo controlling all of B main. Already the rotation comes through from Gambit.
The theory is exceedingly strong from Gambit. They still have to deal with the pressure that's coming their way. Oh my word, Redguard!
नहीं भाई
How are you alive in this? Deals with such
नहीं
pressure
भाई
so
नहीं
well.
नहीं
And Starzo knows he is now just absolutely surrounded. The spike's in enemy control. He cannot get across that. This would need somewhat of a miracle here.
Another round where you see them almost baited in by the confirmation on the back of Zeke's utility, Bone Cold utility as well. Gambit welcomed them with open arms. And what looked disastrous now is looking like a 7-5 half, which is a miracle for Gambit.
Their ability to adjust whenever they need it. Redguard to shut down this chapter. 5-7, Hypoc. This is looking far more feasible than it did initially.
That's half the comeback required on map 2 for Gambit, because they've already done most of the legwork. A pistol round, a round 2, right back to an even game. How Redguard finds a second here,
I don't know,
is beyond me. He has no right to find that second kill.
But it's not the first time we've seen him deal with that sort of presence as well. He's so good at handling that sort of pressure coming his way. Still, as you said, good for 2 in that when I felt 1 was probably more than enough. However, speaking of more than enough, 5-7. That scoreline's much closer now than what we had on the first, so maybe not even the comeback needed. Who knows? A whole other half to go, and the desk to talk you through the first.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, like you said, much closer. We've seen Gambit play Ascent already yesterday. This is much better, Sean.
This is preparation gone to perfection at the end of that half. The way they countered the null command by, again,
so good.
Just chilling in their spawn. Nats is idle in his camera, holding A for Chronicle. He has a cage at B. Also, you have Redguard back there on the Astra in Astral form, ready to help out either side as well. Their rotations were so on point. They countered the KO perfectly.
I mean, Bone Cold for the first half of that half. I felt like that first half had 2 whole halves
yes.
to it. It was like a whole match
really
in of itself. And the big thing to remember here is that for Bone Cold, he's going up against a Gambit side that historically has a defensive sidedness on Ascent. Now, if you don't win that half decisively, you are staring down the barrel of probably a loss if they keep up that trend. So that is my big worry here, is that Bone Cold, he had a good first 5 rounds. He couldn't keep it up into that second half of that first half.
Yeah.
Oh man, Gambit have their number, and I gotta throw it out there, guys. I gotta eat my words. I said Ascend had counted. Shredded their opponents. Looks like maybe they're.
And he had no success.
Right.
Even the Blade Storm whiffs, it didn't matter. Gambit didn't need that because the strategy and tactics prepared to counter Ascend, they look like the more prepared team here.
It really does. The moment we saw Ascend getting into the sites, their post plants, the layering of how they would take Gambit out on the way back in, brought a lot of those first rounds into the game. Once Gambit figured that out, you mentioned the null command on round 10, how they sat back and everything was available from both Redguard and Nats to be used in the round. You can tell how comfortable they are in reading and even giving Ascend a little bit of space before Gambit attacks again.
Well, Ascend, they do have 7 rounds here. Let's jump into the second half with Pansy and Hypoc and see if that will be enough.
It's the big question, isn't it? Because I think most of us, when we look at this matchup, on paper, if it starts at 2-0 for Gambit, the reverse sweep becomes something of a fable at that point. Now, we are always happy to be proven wrong, but I think Ascend really do need this.
They do. In terms of confidence, in terms of stabilizing in the best of 5 series, this is huge for them to close out and not to throw another lead.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger point, right? Is that mental game between these two will become so hard to get around. And it starts with this. The pistol in the second half can set you up and tee you up to get to those double digits for Ascend. That could be incredible for them. And Zeke the man to step in towards that pick towards main. Eyeing up the spike though, it's working up short.
Gambit drifting towards this three-player stack. Actually, the Trailblazers are going to plant the seed of doubt towards mid. Actually, Zeke and Stars are swing through. Nats and Redgar fall.
No doubt in Ascend's mind, they are still holding the right place in the right time. Shados is about to be in danger, and Zeke is taking control of this round. 3 big picks, leaving just Defo in a 1v5. Not much step, but the cross is not available. Ascend get what they need. It's the start to potentially shutting down what could be a Gambit chapter.
A nice little setup there on Amen. This is the sort of thing I've talked about. If Ascend are able to get a good read, they set up and they look so comfortable to greet. This pressure. Zeke, a few of these rounds on their defense. But also, I mean, Zeke's got to make use of the 0 point here. Particularly that, 20 to 30 second stalemate if Gambit do want to continue playing slow. Bone Cold and Zeke need to suck with their utility and make the most of it. But CNED.
He has to get out of there because they're trying to hunt him down right now. Tries to slip towards CT, but takes a little bit of the space back. The pace change from Gambit is so apparent, but already it's fine. Ascend are happy with all of this. None of the fights break a sweat, and it's another Prime Gaming flawless coming out. Ascend off to the absolutely idyllic start here in the second half.
A perfect opportunity for this bonus as well. Making sure that was flawless on the way in. Good ultimate progress as well for Zeke.
Nice from Zeke there as well. What a pickup for Ascend when they got him on board.
Yeah, it's safe to say it was rather underwhelming. Kind of maybe a role mismatch when we did see him debut on G2, but a true diamond in the rough for this roster.
See if we can make it shine this round. Right place, potentially right time. And CNED starting to get a little aggressive. Tag towards Chronicle. He's feeling it now.
Actually, on the flip side, Defo something you look towards on Gambit's attack to come online. See that there, 3 and 9. A shaky performance so far on Ascent. Closer and closer. Actually, a little bit of a rotation come out from Ascent. Now CNED second guessing it.
Yeah, he's going to slip through towards Tree, back up. There's Starzo, who's over towards this side, and of course Zeke. And actually seeing that, going to keep him posted here. But CNED is still CNED, and he might want to do CNED things. He might just walk that, because Starzo's looking like he's thinking about it too, and the timing. He just misses it. But wait, they don't know he's here. Oh no, Starzo! They have no idea! He gets 2 out of nowhere. This is going to be the bonus round. It's a 3v3. Redgar, Nats, and Chronicle not loving this. And CNED, he makes the madman drop. Gets down in their faces, and now just Nats presented the undesirable scenario. They face together, and they win together. Ascend gonna push up to double digits.
Lay the foundation to close this half out a little more comfortably.
Black screen?
CNED's willingness. We've seen a similar play actually here with that smoke just coming out of heaven to try and confirm that plant. Again, it's weird. It's unorthodox. Gambit aren't prepared for that sort of thing. And now Ascend.
Black screen.
Total control of the second half. Really looking for Gambit to make something out of nothing on this next round in particular. But we're looking at one more buy round, Lauren. We're looking at one more buy round.
It's not over till it's over, though, with Gambit.
No, exactly.
Until that final round, that final kill ticks over, it ain't there. And they know that. And Ascend need to know that now, too.
Yeah, Gambit. Throw a little into this round. Sure what's behind it, but they want to do some damage, maybe keep the economy in check on the side of Ascend. Will be noted now. Lots of contact around the map. Gambit look poised.
Linear map
Stack on the side of Ascend.
It's the B main control that's making me so nervous, though. If they try and pinch through towards B, the crossfire could already be in place, and Zeke's just already cut off Nats. So they're actually trying to slip through spawn, and they might be able to do that. With killers going down, there's an option for a Zeke. Tries to stop him before it starts. CNED gets one in the back!
What?
How did he even get that? And now 3, and Zeke's all too away.
मेरे को हर बार इस बंदे का लफड़ा लगता है यार.
Starzo though, there's the aiming control becoming a problem. As Chronicle, he was a highlight on map 1.
ये हर बार smoke में ऐसे मारता है हर बार.
Undesirable task of trying to find 3 players standing at the moment. Taps the spike, no one gonna take that initial bait.
30 seconds left.
Chronicle looking for his first potential victim. Spike plant comes in, the spray comes out, and seen it from above. It's 11 on the board for Ascend. And this is the lifeline they need to bound back in this.
Take a look at actually how Gambit sit after that.
Because they fought in, right?
the age-old count to 3, pull the trigger. CNED finds one. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's going to be awkward if... Yeah, it's awkward. I mean, the only saving grace is rifles. One Spectre in the hand of Nats. Yeah, quick scan of the utility, it's not looking terrible, but...
But talk about playing with heart here for Ascend. They just had a almost fatal map 1. That could have sent you spiraling. And they found a little bit more in the tank. And now we wait to see if they can close. 2 players in middle, CNED on the other side. This man exceeds brilliance, gets one and backs away, looks for the follow-up. He's feeling himself just a touch. Lingers around. And we know the Defo's on the other side. And he holds his nerve.
अलग लेवल का गेम सेंस है यार.
Defo doesn't want to give away another peek here, CNED.
इधर क्यों देख रहा है ये?
I don't know, he wants to re-aggress towards me.
अच्छा इन्हें ट्री खाली छोड़ रखा है. लेकिन नहीं ट्री पे तो केजे ये इधर क्यों देख रहा है लेकिन?
Recon bolt for CNED to potentially confirm something.
ये यहाँ पे क्यों देख रहे हैं मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा है.
Is beautiful. There's almost no weakness
here.
here.
किसी ने कुछ call care this care that.
For Gambit
Zeke
to identify.
He's still got a flash. He's still got what he needs, and he's been holding this for a while. And they line up so perfectly. Takes down Nats with ease. CNED still controlling the hand. Flash in the swing. It's everything you wanted, but with Bone Cold going down, mid's now a little open, and CNED has to be ready for what's coming his way. He reads it well, he repositions well, but he has to fall back from the angle.
To get out, but we'll confirm now Shados's presence in B main.
10 seconds left.
But time.
There's nothing left for them to do here, Lauren.
They have no time to be playing with here. There's no more picks to be had. This is going to be 12 on the board. I don't think Gambit can do anything to deny it and Ascend make it to 12. And I've got to say, from start to finish, Zeke and CNED that round to me. Lovely coordination between the two.
It's just night and day. This is what you want to see from Ascend in terms of momentum, holding on to it. Again, maintaining that pace, maintaining that level of control.
अब मोरल डाउन होगा सामने वालों का, बट उतना नहीं होगा जितना इनका फर्स्ट राउंड में एसेंड वालों को किया था.
They do. We haven't seen the
बुरा कमबैक किया था भाई. कमबैक कितना बुरा लगता है.
I'm seeing any value from this default, which we credit Gambit for so often.
Yeah. Well, Ascend.
Look at the setup here.
Yeah, they are so prepared for this, and away we go. CNED goes in, anti-flash! Oh, that could have been the icing on the cake. It's not to be. Nats, the destroyer of dreams, happy on the other side. And Investio as well. Zeke has to respect this now.
Try and pick up the pace a little bit.
कौन सा डिवाइड है? अच्छा ये प्लांट के लिए डिवाइड किया है.
I thought he had him dead to rights. It wasn't to be. This is scrappy, and that's not where Gambit thrives.
Unlucky. भाई कितने कॉन्फिडेंस से खेल रहे थे. 5-12 की लीड चल रही है 7 राउंड के.
Shados, Redgar and Defo. Killers, be careful now. There's 2 players. He's going to make mid-speed of 1, but it's a good trade out. It's enough to secure the site for the spike plant.
A little opportunity here for them to set up. They're not going to play this aggressively. Shadows might even have an opportunity to drift back into B main. That could be huge for Gambit in this post.
Champion Valorant किसी को पसंद नहीं है. Champion वाली Vandal किसी को पसंद नहीं है.
On the way back in.
Flashback up in a couple of seconds as well. Shados can run this now. A pivotal position, and Redgar wants to
बस angle hold करो, निकलने की जरूरत नहीं है.
That's the first challenge. He wins. Shados. That is everything he needed, but Redgar is right there in support. The unison works well, and Gambit at least get another on the board. If this can continue, I don't know, but it's enough at least to get over the line there.
Well, they need a couple more. They need to be flawless in terms of building up the economy. But a lifeline, at least, for Gambit. 6 more to find.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, for any other team.
Yeah.
point.
Speaking of ultimates, we haven't really talked much about it. I mean, we've still got Starzo on his.
Not been an awful lot of reliance on.
No, not really. Shadow says his Defo is his. It's not been
the comeback
part of this. And Bone Cold just destroyed 2 of them. Look at the HP on Nats and Shados. No way is this how it goes down. Defo slices through, refusing to go down in moments like these. He tries to power forward, ult still out, looking to maybe catch off ZK, get aggressive towards CT. That's the name of the game for Defo. Leaves the 2 on the site, ignores the now confirms there's still 2 here. Do we re-engage? Yes, we do, and Defo is the one at the helm. They clear the site and the spike goes down.
Good. Sorry. Good drone.
Curious, nervous if you're Ascend, because where did that hit just come from?
Defo showing signs of life here. Stars I can find anything on the way back in.
Big
factor will be we need to maintain this economy.
At least close to hold on to this
buffer. Make sure some of these rifles come across, make it a little easier on the way back in. Not like he wants to entertain it at all. You can see the investment of utility towards B main. Oh, the seeds of doubt.
Even
निकलवा लेते हैं इसके हाथ से तो 8-12 तो है। Didn't spot him.
अबे नीचे बैठा है इसके नीचे बैठा है
He could have been dead. But it will be 3 making it out. Shados being one of them, and I'm pretty sure Shados and Nats were the 2 who received the vast majority of the flak from that initial spam coming out.
There was a moment there where there was 3 of them lined up on the X-ray, and I think actually enough damage is done where Keyleth finds a kill with the nano swarm as they try and force through. It's Nats who actually falls here. Somehow Defo gets ahead of this, so far ahead of this it feels.
What an influential round for him.
The Chronicle as well, with that owl drone, it's so bold to attempt that. The timing has to be crucial, making use of that, but some vital information fed back across.
We go again. Waiting with bated breath to see if Ascend can close out this game, or Gambit are just simply the immovable objects. Starzo does need to respect this and fall away.
भाई है Gambit का भी, Ascend का भी बताओ. फिर तो not yet बार मेरे को लगा नहीं था भाई वो.
It's interesting to see a couple of light armors on the side of Ascend, whether or not that's trying to maintain the economy or trying to make sure they can continue purchasing operators for CNED. Gambit again look to explore mid.
Timing they will look at timing they go.
Spike not committed anywhere just yet, so Gambit want to try and find an engagement.
Flash.
Create an opening for themselves.
Pure perfect spam, bro. Perfect spam.
And both information tools ready and waiting. Boko will actually find Redgar there.
Was that through smoke? I feel like it was.
Environment sense, not game sense.
Defo looking.
He
might be on track for a trade, and he is. That's Killer's now nice top mid, which will cut off some of his rotations. That's actually a huge pick to Ghana.
This again, Defo finding.
Oh, Chronicle, this patience.
खत्म. Smoke खत्म और ये
the flash should give Ascend a good idea of what's about to go down.
Defo, you still need to be key in this one, and Bone Cold's got him across the map. CNED still stands as well. This could be the one. This could be the round to take him across the line. Nats, the last one alive here, and Ascend.
This could be the round. 4-1 में कह रहे हैं. This could be the round that can take them to.
We talked about this in terms of a best of 5.
4-1 है. सारे बंदे साइड पे हैं. बॉम्ब साइड पे पड़ा है.
The confidence for Ascend now. We're basically a bracket reset, right? Yeah, it comes down now.
बराबर अबे खेचेंगे 5 तक जाएगा. फिनाले ना थोड़ी फिक्सिंग भी मेरे को स्मेल आ रही है. CS:GO में नहीं होता, लेकिन यहाँ पे मेरे को स्मेल आ रही है.
I'm sure the desk will touch on it as well, but I know you.
Bye brother, bye. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
हम भी अब स्ट्रीम बंद करते हैं. The start, Bone Cold can't ignore it. What a performance from the man.
कौन देख रहा है? 4 जना I don't know. 4 जनों में से एक तो बानू एक मैं हूँ.
This time around, Nats and Chronicle not able to find the same synergy or even the same value in a lot of these rounds here as they were on Breeze. And that's a huge factor for Gambit, particularly on the defense. We know that was pivotal to their success in terms of that comeback.
You're right, and I look towards Shados and Redgar to have their time in this, but trying to make the impact in the same sort of way as we saw Nats and Chronicle is near on impossible. But on the flip side, I'd say a good performance across the board. Zeke having some big moments, that's Starzo, but again, Bone Cold. What a way to begin for him. That's going to be a real confidence going forward for the man.
We talk about comfort zones in terms of the way this played out. Ascend looked much more comfortable with pace, with aggression, with confidence. And this time around, Gambit weren't able to shut down some of these almost overzealous executes or overzealous plays on the side of Ascend. I think really this is just the story of momentum throughout Ascend.
And it's just the start of things now. We basically unlock the rest of the maps because we're tied up at 1-1, so we get to see the full series now, and I can't wait for it. I want to see these two go toe-to-toe the entire way. However, before we get there, we're going to hand it back to a break in the desk, talk through everything we just saw, and also what's coming up.
Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play.
Hello guys, good night. Good night तो नहीं, मैं बेड पे देखूंगा, अब ठंड लग रही है भाई, मारो बेटे। Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching everyone. Bye.